Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him. I am sitting here with insider James, not a public figure, and we're here to make you guys some money. I do have James here in studio today. Thank you for making the trip to my South Dallas abode. Last week, we went head-to-head in our gambling bets for week 1 of the NFL slate. And I am unhappy to announce that the insider beat the idiot. So congratulations to you. Came down to our final primetime Sunday night, Monday night parlay. We both picked the Lions correctly. I took the Jets. I got a free roll with Christian McCaffrey being out. Didn't matter. You ended up winning. Wasn't even a close game. Aaron Rodgers got pulled in like what felt like the third quarter. It was over pretty quickly. Do you have any thoughts before we get started on this slate from last week, Mr. James?
No, it just sort of feels like my thoughts on the game from last night were, Aaron looks like he's working his way through it. I don't think he's as bad as I expected him to be. Actually.
He looked fine.
So the Jets defense, I got to find out what's going on with Sauce. There's a lot of cryptic tweets going around. I gotta hit up some of my insiders to see why he sat out a whole drive.
Okay. I'll be interested to see that. The Jets defense definitely looked a lot worse than I thought they would look in that game. They kind of got picked apart pretty quickly and got run all over town by a backup running back. We'll see if he can do that to every team. He just might,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for your dynasty lineup. But we'll see going forward. Either way, Christian McCaffrey will come back, and I will assume will be even better than that. So 49ers are still the 49ers. I don't think the Jets are dead yet. I don't think Garrett Wilson's dead yet. But it was interesting to see how kind of quickly that offense turned. And I think they just kind of stuck to the run a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. The Jets did. They ran the ball a lot with Breece Hall, and he was averaging like 3.4 yards per carry. So I don't know exactly what was going on there.
Went to the well one too many times.
Way too many times. He also had a fumble on the game. I think Lazard had a bad drop early on there.
Yeah. Oh, that Lazard drop was horrible.
Unlucky interception for Aaron Rodgers. So, I'm not panicking on the Jets yet, but definitely a good call week 1. Even Trent Williams went out and got an IV because he's a little bit out of shape, and you still crushed that. You still got that win without any issue whatsoever. But that's enough about last week. We're going to get right into week number 2 of our slate. So if this is your first time joining us, how this works is I represent the idiot. James represents the insider. This week, he actually gave me the games that we are going to be picking or that he has a recommendation for. And I don't know what he's picking, but I am forced to either agree with him, disagree with him. I'm going to add an extra wrinkle to this week.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm going to allow myself to pivot.
Pivot?
Yeah. I'm going to allow myself to pivot off.
Like if I pick a money line, you get a spread
or yes, okay. Or I can take an over-under or something like that.
I like it. I really like it.
So we're adding a little bit of extra wrinkle. Just like NFL offensive coordinators, we're always adding wrinkles.
We're starting to do an RPO now.
to our program, we're doing a lot of pre-snap motion and a lot of leading wide receivers as blockers. Anyways, starting with Colts at Packers. I think all of these are going to be the current DraftKings lines. So these money lines and other things may be different to what you have because we all know that you shop your lines. You get the best numbers, which we obviously recommend for you at home as well. But I will present all of these games from like the DraftKings point of view. Colts at Packers in Green Bay. Packers are getting 3.5 points at home. Of course, that is primarily due to Jordan Love being out with a knee injury. Malik Willis is going to get the start for the Packers. It'll be his 4th start in the NFL and his first start since 2022, where he averaged 4.5 yards per attempt, which is bad for an NFL quarterback.
Not the best.
I'll let you take it from here. I have more thoughts on this game. I'm excited that you have a selection. What is your take on the Colts and the Packers?
Yeah, so, I mean, I was shocked that Jordan Love even has the opportunity to come back this season. I think that's the one thing that I was so shocked about from that injury.
I thought it was ACL out for the season.
100%.
Or best case scenario, patella dislocation out for like 2 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I still think he's going to be out for a while. That knee injury looked nasty.
Yeah. I think they got to be in the playoffs or he's not coming back. I think is the.
I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back in like 6 to 8 weeks.
Really?
The original estimates are 3 to 6. I'm in denial. I don't think we're going to see him for a while. I think that knee injury was really, really bad, and they're kind of underplaying it, underestimating it. And all of the reports about the estimates, as far as I can tell, are from insiders. They're not necessarily from like the coach's mouth.
The team. Yeah.
So they're not like going out and being like, oh no, he'll be back in 6 weeks. I think he might. We'll see if he goes on IR. If he doesn't go on IR this week, then maybe he's just got bendy knees. I mean, we saw
he's got flexible knees. He's been doing knees over toes for months, I guess.
Yeah, Sam Laporta came back off that disgusting, like his knee bent backwards 45 degrees, and he was back the next week. So
that's
knees can be different for different players. We'll see with Jordan Love.
I can feel my ACL popping just watching that
video. Anyways, keep going.
I've got the under in this game.
Okay.
I was unimpressed by some of Anthony Richardson's throws. I think they have a semi-explosive offense in Indianapolis that I think will eventually get there. But right now, I think they're not on the same page. I definitely think with Malik Willis starting, you're not going to see very much out of the Packers at all. So I've got under. I was able to grab 41 on this. It's 40.5 right now. You should probably be able to find 41 at home.
I'm sure you can.
Under 41/40.5.
Yep. And you still like it at 40.5, probably.
Yeah, I probably like it down to, I'd probably take it all the way to 40 if, you put a gun to my head. But I really like 41.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're taking under 41. I will actually disagree with you here. I'm going to take the over.
Wow.
And I'll take, just to be fair, I'll take over 40.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So you can push and I can still be right. Okay. And here's why. Alec Pierce, 125 yards. AR missed AD Mitchell deep twice as well.
Yeah.
AR had 16.5 air yards per attempt, which is most in the NFL since Lamar Jackson week 3 of 2021.
Wow.
He completed 2 of those passes for over 60 air yards for the first time since 2016. Okay. So he's bombing the ball deep. The Packers, Javon Bouliard was targeted 4 times for 4 receptions and allowed a passer rating of 118 when targeted. Jair Alexander was targeted 9 times, gave up 112 yards, passer rating of 97.7 when targeted. Now, so the turf, right?
Yeah.
In Brazil. So maybe it was like a turf issue.
Yeah.
When there's slippery field conditions in like the rain or snow, that usually favors the offense because they know where they're running,
right,
and the defense has to react to it. So maybe it was a footing issue, but I'm going to say that's going to be a sign of things to come. And I think the Colts are just going to put up a ton of points on these Packers, and it's a little bit of a depressed line. And because of that, I'm going to take the over at 40.5 points.
I like that the idiot has statistics and the expert has just vibes.
This is what happens when you give me time to prepare.
Yeah, I regret sending you this. I should have looked at your notes before I started.
Well, I didn't give you my notes.
This
so that's
impressive.
That's the fun part about it.
Impressive. You got Chargers Panthers next.
Yep. So next we got Chargers Panthers. Moving on through our noon slate. Chargers are -6.5. The over under is at 39. Of course, the Panthers looked horrible last week.
I don't know what you're talking about. They look great.
J.K. Dobbins looked pretty sensational. I'll get into it a little bit more here in a second. Go ahead and tell me what your pick on this game is.
This is, I mean, you're going to shred me on this one, but F it. I want to put it out there. I'm taking the Panthers again.
Yeah.
I'm taking Panthers plus 200. And I truly believe that this Panthers team is better than what they put out there, even though what they put out there was the worst I've ever seen. If I lose this one, I'm taking my Panthers off the board for the rest of the year.
Okay.
But I'm someone who does not overreact to week 1. I'm somebody who I come in, it's a very small sample size. To me, I still think this Panthers team is a lot better than they were last year. I'm also already low on the Chargers coming into this season.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the plus 200. If I'm wrong on this one, Panthers immediately off my board, but I'm sticking with my guns from the preseason here for at least another week.
Okay. So you're taking Panthers money line to win. They are at home. This is going to be another Chargers. Is anybody going to be in the stadium game? The second one in a row. I think the Chargers was like one of the only 2 games that I disagreed with you that I won.
Yeah.
Last week.
That is right.
Against you. You took the Raiders and I was like, no way, Jose.
Chargers were right.
Chargers going to win that one. The Panthers last week gave up 180 yards on the ground. The Chargers ran the ball for 176. J.K. Dobbins had 13.5 yards per carry. Ladd McConkey led the team in targets, which was good to see for those fantasy managers at home. The number 2 target on the team, you're looking at my notes right now. Would you have believed it's Quentin Johnston?
No, I think I might have him in like one of our dynasty leagues somehow too. And I'm like, oh snap.
So
works.
I was a side note, Quentin Johnston, last time Harbaugh saw him on a football field before during the Chargers was in the college football playoff where Quentin Johnston put up like 4 receptions for like 160 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I was always like, he might have a little bit of a different viewpoint on Quentin Johnston than the rest of the league is. And maybe that's what we're seeing. Of course, I think Josh Palmer got ejected early there with like a scuffle in the end zone with the Raiders.
It was for being too tall.
That was a bad look. That was weird. And yeah, so who knows if Quentin Johnson is going to keep that number 2 target role on the team, but just an interesting kind of side note. Bosa did have a sack last week. Panthers gave up 40% pressure rate, which is 9th worst in the NFL. And they had the 4th fastest time to throw. Okay.
I'm shocked that 3 other teams beat them.
Or
worse than them, I guess, in this case, not beating them. But
they were really, really horrible. I think it's a good matchup for the Chargers just on the ground, just running the damn football. I think they found their guy in J.K. Dobbins as long as he stays healthy. And if he doesn't, guess what? Gus Edwards, the Gus Boost, the Bang Bus, beep, beep is rolling on through the town. He's going to roll right through this Panthers defense, I think.
That's the first time I've wanted the Bang Bus to pick me up.
Yeah, most rides in the Bang Bus go very, very differently. Not so much with Gus Edwards. 6.5 points is a lot.
Yeah.
For an NFL football team. The Panthers are on the hot seat. They're home, which again, I don't know if that helps too much. I don't know if their fans are going to be too excited to be there. And
they'll be drunk.
They will be drunk. I think the Chargers are just really going to take their wins out of their sails really, really early here. 6.5 points is a little bit too rich for my blood. So force bet, I guess I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers money line and disagree with you again here. I'm going to kind of lean towards the under as well because I think the Chargers are going to run the piss out of the football, run the clock a lot, dominate that top. And 39, it's a pretty low number, but
really low.
I don't see the Panthers scoring whatsoever in the ground, through the air, or on special teams against this Chargers team. I like where your head's at here, and I knew you were going to head in this direction with the Panthers' big money line pick, fading week 1. But I think I literally tweeted or like replied to a tweet or something. It's like, always remember, like, I feel like we're overreacting to week 1 more than we usually do. I feel like we always tell ourselves, hey, don't overreact to week 1. I haven't heard that on a single podcast yet. So it's just like,
let us be the first ones.
A storyline that's been kind of forgotten about for whatever reason, that we should be fading week 1. But I said we always should fade week 1. Like, we don't really know what this means except for the Panthers. The Panthers stink.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
So,
but I as a mathematician got to believe in variance. And the sample size is still low. But I definitely will be taking the Panthers off the board this week if it doesn't work out. 6.5 point dogs at home. That's tough. That's a tough spread to cover. But I think Harbaugh's going to do it. Yeah. On the reverse side of that, at least the Panthers have a lot of tape to work with after that game.
They sure do.
So that's at least a positive.
Moving on to Kamani Vidal, everybody's sweet prince from the running back that's going to take over this backfield.
Yeah. Healthy
scratch, inactive for the game. Practice squad, just like I said. Shout out to my YouTube comments. Fuck you guys. I was right. Moving on to our next game here. The Giants and the Commanders. The Giants are getting 2.5 points on the road to Commanders. So basically that's saying neutral site. Teams are even, which is an interesting thing to say. Plus 114 according to DraftKings. And the over-under is surprisingly high at 44.
Yeah.
Where do you choose on this one? Giants Commanders.
Yeah. So I was very impressed by Jaden Daniels week 1.
He was good.
I heard that they don't want to run him as much. I
ran 16 times.
I think you should keep running him. I mean,
I think so too.
there's not a lot of times that you're going to get the crap beat out of you if you can run the way that he does. He's impressive. So I'm pretty high on the Jaden Daniels train. I was high coming into the season, though, to be fair. This isn't a divergence from my initial beliefs. So I actually took the Commanders here. I took their money line at -145. I could see this game totally being like a last-second field goal situation. So I just want the Commanders to win this one. I truly just don't know what we're going to see out of the Giants. I feel like this first week was pretty big fluke. I really don't think that Daniel Jones is as bad as people are saying that he is right now. I think he had a really tough game, but the Vikings impressed me a lot more than I was disappointed by the Giants is how I'd probably put that game in my head. So.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson. If you faded Justin Jefferson in fantasy football, you're praying for him to go down with an injury because he's just going to be wide receiver 1 again this year.
Yeah, because Alshon Jeffrey is questionable now. And,
it's Jordan Addison, I think, had the opposite ankle. High ankle sprain to the opposite ankle now.
Yes.
And he still might be suspended later on this season. Who knows? Anyway, so you're taking the Commanders at the money line -145.
-145.
I'm going to lay the points.
Yep.
So I'm going to agree with you, but even more so. I'm going to go Commanders -2.5 at whatever the line is, probably -110. Daniel Jones, are you talking about Daniel Jones? Like maybe he's not as bad as we're thinking, but look at the sample size of last season. He had 2 before he went down with the ACL that he's recovering from still. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. Okay. He follows it up week 1 this year, 0 touchdowns, 2 more interceptions. I have my notes here. Dable isn't helping -doofus. Okay. We've talked about that a few times. I know you spend a lot of time
Brian, I still
hobnobbing
love you.
with Brian.
We're still friends.
You can still be friends with him.
That's his opinions, not mine.
I don't have to be. We're just arguing here. That's all we're doing. The Giants, 11th in EPA per play against the run on, or again, 11th in EPA per play on defense, 19th in EPA per the run. Commanders, 4th in EPA per rush on offense. They're going to run the piss out of the ball. Jaden Daniels is going to get way too loose. Brian Robinson is, I think, one of the most underrated. Probably him and Kenneth Walker are 2 of the most underrated running backs in the NFL. The Commanders were able to run the ball last week. They're going to be able to run the ball this week, and in a positive game script when I expect them to be ahead pretty early on. I think they're just going to pound the rock, run the clock out, and they're going to win this game by 6.5 points. I think this number's way, way off. So I agree with you, and I'm going to take the Commanders at the -2.5, James.
And at home too, which
neutral game.
Talk about a stadium you don't want to travel to as a away fan.
Oh,
there might be a pipe that bursts on you.
Yeah, poop pipe. Yeah,
pipe.
What a shit show we got over there. Oh, get a second minute. Okay, moving on to our next game: the Seahawks at the Patriots. The Seahawks are -175, -3 against the spread. The over/under is pretty low as well at 41. We just talked about Kenneth Walker had a career game last week. What are your thoughts on this game?
Charbonnet also got that tutty on the pass.
Long pass touchdown.
I've been pretty impressed with the Patriots. I felt that Jacoby Brissett was going to be the right idea to start the season. I think that was pretty much proved last week. Wasn't expecting them to pull off an upset against the Bengals. Definitely wasn't in my calendar. Unfortunately,
and that would be a classic insider James pick.
Now, it would have been. It would have been, but I'll be honest. The insiders weren't super high on the Patriots defense, but
yeah,
I think the Cincinnati Bengals are still discombobulated.
Yeah, that was probably more of a Bengals thing.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little later.
Patriots thing.
But I've got the Patriots at +3.5 in this game. I think at home, I think this is a pretty good spot for them to stay where they need to be. I don't think you'll be impressed by anything that they do. I think it'll be a pretty classic Patriots win where they just sort of nonchalantly dominate and nothing explosive, nothing crazy, but I think they'll just make the right plays in the right spots and pull out a W at home.
I love Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
For the record, I loved him. I still wish he was the starting quarterback for the Browns, who may now be able to get out from under the Deshaun Watson contract.
They've got about 3 more allegations ready to leak if this one doesn't go.
Oh, yeah. If this one doesn't go, I mean, obviously there's not a shortage of women who have been allegedly sexually assaulted by Deshaun Watson. I don't think that group is ever going to run out anytime soon. So hopefully Deshaun Watson will no longer be a Brown. momentarily. I'm going to go see him play our friend Brian Dable in Cleveland in 2 weeks, I think.
Wow.
I think it's in 2 weeks. I'll be in Cleveland for that game, so watch out for content from Cleveland.
Can we get some rock and roll Hall of Fame content too while you're out there?
We'll try. We'll see what we can do. Anyways, like we said, Kenneth Walker had a career game. He's a stud. Patriots, on the other hand, Ramondre Stevenson had a career game himself. 120 yards on the ground. The Patriots were running with so normally you have 5 offensive linemen on the field at the time. They were running with 6 or more offensive linemen, 28% of offensive plays last week. The Seahawks couldn't stop the run last year. Mm-hmm. They lost Bobby Wagner again. Let him walk again.
They're just on and off again,
I guess. Let him walk again. Bobby Wagner is now on the Commanders. And last week, they again also couldn't stop the run. No. Okay. So the Seahawks are going to pound the rock. If you give Jacoby Brissett a team that can pound the rock and he can just dump it off to a wide receiver that would probably be on the practice squad of 20 teams in the NFL.
Or Hunter Henry,
who's good tight end. I think it's a great matchup for the Patriots here. So we're going to put 6 offensive linemen on the field and we're going to run down your throat because we know you can't stop it.
I wish they do 7.
Yeah. I think they did actually.
Come out in the I formation, but what the tight ends are
the stat that I saw, it said 6+. So I don't know how many of them. I don't know how many of them were 7 or 8.
Throw in, you know what? You could be like in NCAA football when you're on the Maryland I with two fullbacks and the 2 tight ends, except now the fullbacks are offensive linemen.
Doesn't get better than that. So yeah, I think they're just gonna pound the rock. I don't know what Stevenson's over under is, but start him in fantasy for the game for sure. And you said you found it at 3.5.
I did get 3.5.
Okay, so I will also take 3.5. Despite DraftKings being at 3. So shop your lines, folks. Moving on.
I think we can pretty much guarantee that DraftKings will probably be about a half point worse than what you can find in the market, if I've got to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they're kind of...
Unless you guys want to sponsor us, and then in case you guys have the best lines.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The old Pat McAfee. We'll get you back up at number 1.
Exactly.
Moving on to, I was so pumped to see this on your list of games that you were predicting.
Oh, yeah.
The Bengals at the Chiefs at Arrowhead. The Chiefs
already moved.
are -6. The over-under is 48. The Chiefs are money line is -250. What do you have on this one?
Man, I need to stop moving lines before these podcasts. This is brutal.
They must have our text thread.
Yeah, you drop.
We gotta start using WhatsApp.
Every time I drop, 50 million on a line, they keep moving.
Of course.
If anyone thinks I'm dropping 50 million on a line, please call me. I've got some.
Our studio would look way nicer.
I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you if you need that. I took the Chiefs in this one.
Okay.
The analysis is pretty simple here. The Bengals are doo-doo. The Chiefs are good. I think 6 is low.
Okay.
It should be like 11.5 to like 12. So I took the Chiefs at -5.5 was what I was able to get.
So I'm gonna disagree with you here.
Oh no.
This is gonna be my fade week 1.
Oh man.
Pick of the week. I think the Bengals are gonna be fine. Okay. Jamar Chase is gonna get back in the groove of things. T. Higgins was out. He's gonna be out again this week, which I don't love. Mm-hmm. Andre Yosevach, I think, could have like a little bit. He was on the field 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like a Princeton or Harvard graduate.
Oh, he's the new Kyle Juszczyk.
He's brilliant. So I like him. I like him at the slot. The Bengals, I think a lot of people were saying like, they're missing Mixon, which might be true, but I think I like Zach Moss. I think he's gonna be fine for this team, and then Chase Brown is gonna be like the fire burner guy. Interesting. Chiefs blitz at the 5th highest rate in the NFL in week 1. Last season, Burrow against the blitz was really, really good, is where he saw most of his production. So Burrow's really good against the blitz. That's an interesting matchup. Of course, you got Andy Reid looking at things. Maybe they kind of figure that out and they don't blitz as much against Burrow. But I think Andy's got his fingers in the offense a little bit more than the defense. Yeah. And I think we could see the defense blitz Burrow too much. So I like that matchup. I like fading a surprising week 1 result. The big thing here will be Chris Jones, who is lining up at edge on like third and longs, which is, I mean, it's pretty smart and terrifying. And Trey Hendrickson on the other side of things had a great game in week 1 himself. So everyone was super excited. Opening night, we all were watching. Every single eyeball was on the Chiefs. Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. The team looked incredible. The defense looked incredible. And I think we all nobody really watched the Bengals game. We all heard they did bad. They heard they lost. They were obviously big favorites. So I'm going to fade those 2 week 1 results and hope that the Chiefs somewhat come back down to earth and the Bengals play themselves into a pretty solid game in probably the weakest AFC North that we've ever seen in our lifetimes.
I also will say here, I think the extra days of rest definitely help. Having the Thursday night game, going to the Sunday.
That's a good point.
That's a kind of a classic James bet thing you'll see as well. Travel plays a lot into a lot of my bets, and that's definitely another reason why I like the Chiefs here.
Yep. So back-to-back home games and extended rest.
That's a
good point.
I mean, Patrick and Travis might have been burning the midnight oil in New York, apparently, but
Kelsey was out dancing with his lady, which I think is honestly a positive. But
he didn't do much week 1, so it's not like it's going to affect us.
So I'm going to take the 6 points, and I'm going to take the Bengals fade in week 1 results.
All right.
That's what I'm going to stick with. Moving on to the Steelers and the Broncos at Mile High Stadium. I'll let you go ahead and talk about that. But Broncos are +3. The over under 36.5, and the Broncos are +136 on the money line. What say you, James?
Yeah, I mean, this is I like my Denver Broncos at home.
Yep.
Mile High is definitely a good place to be.
Early on in the season too, when players aren't in shape, they got to go at altitude and play.
Yep. So early season definitely helps a lot in Denver. Yep. On top of that, if you watch the Steelers-Falcons game last week, that was like a team. It was like, who is not going to lose the game? Yeah. It was kind of what it was. Nobody really wanted to win that game.
For sure.
Arthur Smith, still an offensive coordinator for the Steelers. So this is a pretty easy pick for me. Denver Broncos, +135. Easy money.
So you're taking Broncos
with the money line. Absolutely.
So I like that.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to agree with you there for home field advantage. Their home field is like legit might be like 5.5 points.
I think maybe 4. I think 4 is the official number.
Early season
that I hear.
I think you get it. I think
bump it up.
Extra.
I
half,
like that
extra half or a whole one early on.
Week 4.
Yeah.
5.5.
The whole offense for the Steelers was play action. Passes outside the numbers to George Pickens. And guess who's going to be lining up on George Pickens?
Surtain.
Yeah. And he's going to lock him down. Okay. The
Roll Tide.
The Steelers, on the other hand, I mean, TJ Watt is unblockable. And these Broncos really, really struggled against pressure last week. So I'm actually going to add a pick. 36.5 is a low over under.
So low.
I'm taking the under, baby.
Oh my God.
This has 3 to 9 written all over it, because the Broncos aren't going to be able to score. I don't think. The Steelers, all the Steelers are going to do is try and feed George Pickens, and he's going to get locked down by Surtain, because Surtain just locks down everybody.
Yeah.
I do think the Broncos are going to win it by like 6 points. Okay. So I agree with you there, but I'm going to add an under to the pick. So do both of those.
Got it.
Do both of those and parlay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow. Doubling up the odds here.
So parlay Broncos +3 with under 36.5. Okay. Because that's a good correlation there.
Yeah.
With the under and the +3. Okay.
Like it.
Because low scoring game. If it's 2-0 at the end of the game, I win my parlay.
Wait,
right?
You might as well just bet. Will there be a safety at that point? plus 10,000.
That's a good point. Anyways, yeah. So I like the Broncos here, but I like the under even more. I don't see any of these teams scoring 20 points in this game.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay? Steelers team total under for the entire year. You might as well just go ahead and bet that.
Blindly bet it.
Blindly bet it every
with
week.
Arthur Smith. Did you see the pass chart for Justin Fields? It was like I saw someone tweet that it was like it looked like a
strike zone of a pitcher who was about to get pulled in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah, we saw the same tweet. Yeah,
Our algorithms are in sync.
It looked pretty bad, super predictable. Broncos are going to be able to stop the run. Steelers are going to be able to stop everything. I just love the under so much.
Yeah.
Moving on to our last game here. Bears and Texans. The Bears are getting 6.5 points at Houston.
Yeah.
Plus 240. The over-under is at 45.5. A couple of injury pieces here. Odunze, I think, is going to be out with a minor knee injury, which I'm a big fade Odunze guy. And I feel bad that I'm going to have to wait an extra 3 weeks to take my victory lap on how bad Odunze is. But anyways.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither is James.
I think Roman Wilson is going to be a better receiver than maybe I shouldn't say that into a microphone, but
say it. Say it. No,
I
say
won't.
It, you coward.
No, I won't.
No, you started it. You must finish it.
No. Keenan
Hot
Allen
takes only.
Went out with a heel. DJ Moore said he's going to be fine. Either way. So a couple of injury pieces there. Go ahead. Take this one away, James.
Yeah. So I agree with your first line of your notes, even though the people haven't seen it yet. But yeah, Caleb Williams is bad.
He was bad.
The Bears offense is very bad.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Caleb is the first rookie to win a game is because of their defense and special teams.
Two defensive special teams touchdowns.
Yeah. So I know
Shout out Will Levis.
You added a third thing for you to bet on, but I'm going to throw a fourth thing in here. I took a team total on this one.
Okay.
I took the Chicago Bears team total, which was 19.5, and said under
19.5.
I don't think this team might score more than 6 points in this game. And I also think the Texans might just run all over them. So I don't really like betting the over under here because I truly think that the Texans could cover 45 on their own. But the one thing I know about this game is I think the Chicago Bears are going to throw up a stinker. Yeah. And so that's why I'm taking the team total under there.
Okay. I like it. I like the thought.
Yep.
Joe Mixon, high success rate in runs in week 1, which I assume is a good thing.
That seems like it.
Just an advanced analytic thing there. Yeah, Joe Mixon looked absolutely incredible for these Houston Texans. I think he got 30 handoffs. Was super dominant. The Texans pass blocking did have some issues. Okay, so in 3 of their 4 offensive linemen gave up 4 pressures or more in the game. Jalen Johnson is going to be locking down Nico Collins. But guess who else we got on that offense? My sweet prince, who tied almost Nico Collins in total air yards last week. Tankius Delius, or Tank Dell for short. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a burner. He's going to be moving down the field. I think Nico's going to be locked down. I think it's going to be the Tank Dell show. Okay. With that being said, I don't like that we're maybe potentially overreacting to week 1 again with Caleb Williams. This is supposed to be a high-powered offense. They're undefeated. Okay. The Texans look good against the Colts. I think the Colts are going to be good this year, but they were able to move the ball down the field pretty efficiently. 45.5 points.
A lot of points.
That's a lot of points, especially when my partner, my compatriot, is taking the Bears total under. But you said it yourself. These Texans can cover that 45.5 on their own. This is a good Bears defense.
I think they could.
This is a good Bears defense, though, and I hate that you picked this one because I don't want to pick any piece of it.
I'm picking for the people, man. You know,
but I have to.
If there's a broadcasted game on Sunday night or Monday,
that's Sunday night game, right?
I have to pick it for the people.
This is a Sunday night football game. I'm gonna say Caleb Williams looks slightly better than he did in week 1. Air yards or average depth of target was still pretty good. It's just those passes weren't caught. It's going to be an issue. I'm hoping I'm gonna plant my flag that Keenan Allen will just be like DeAndre Hopkins last year. He'll never practice and he'll play every single game and he'll be fine. He'll catch for like 1,100 yards. He'll be fine. He was the highest targeted player on the team last week. So I think because of Tank Dell on the offensive side of the Texans, and we're fading week 1 with Caleb Williams, even though this is a pretty high over-under, I'm going to take the over 45.5 points.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sunday Night Football, going to be a shootout. Going to have a fun time on Sunday night.
Wow.
And those are all the games, right, James?
That's it. We're donezo.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for joining us in studio. Our conversations are much less labored when we're sitting next to each other versus on a computer screen.
Fair.
With a little bit of delay. And
but I can't just type away and look up stats.
I know.
I can't.
I know you do have to do a little bit of preparation work. So maybe next time,
Would've
just some
sent
show
you one of
notes. You
those.
bring your own laptop, and we really just like
I'm gonna bring one of the Microsoft tablets actually.
start.
that
Oh, the
way,
Microsoft tablet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one of those and just.
And then when I beat you, you can throw it on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're probably only going for $10 at Best Buy.
So congratulations to you. You won week 1. Stay tuned for week 2. We'll see. We'll keep track. I think what we're gonna do, just for like ease, instead of keeping track of like total units, we'll just do whoever won each week in terms of units. Okay. Does that sound fair? And then we'll keep the score for the whole season. And by the end, I'll obviously be the winner.
Right.
And I'll celebrate and I'll dunk on you on my own.
It's gonna be an 8-foot rim.
YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. You're not a public figure. You are an NFL insider.
I am.
So it's going to be tough for an idiot like me to beat you. But I've got NFL Pro now. I don't know if I've showed you this platform.
No.
It's pretty sweet.
Is this like PPF?
It's like PPF. PPF was good.
Oh.
Okay.
That was a shot. Unless you guys want to sponsor.
I can't wait for PPF to go out of business. No, I won't take PPF's money. They don't have any. They're out of money.
I'll take your money.
Anyways.
I'll always take your money.
Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments if you think we're idiots or if you agree with us. And we'll see you next time.